Ooh,
What's that smell? What
I'll
is
tell
that?
you what, weekends are great, but when you have a 3-day holiday weekend, wow.
3-day weekend, 3 whole days I'm going to spend doing nothing. Hi everybody, happy Friday, the 25th day of May, 2018. Wake Up Wenatchee Valley has safely reached the airwaves by that much. I am Dan Koontz, your host. Steve Donho Hare to my immediate left, and Kat is back in control. I was a little worried about Kat, our producer. She was under the weather big time.
That she was, but she's rebounded quite nicely.
Well, when you're young and you treat your body like a temple and you eat healthy and you exercise, you know, your body just slides right through that bad stuff.
Welcome back.
It's good to have you back, Kat. Nothing against Uriah, who produced the show yesterday, but now here's a nice little Uriah Darby, one of our top content producers. Well, one of our content producers anywhere. He was supposed to start his vacation yesterday, and he actually came in and produced this show. That's a team player.
That's right.
That's the team player. We have a good television family here. We have our father figures and the rebellious kids, and I'm the crazy uncle. It's a family here.
Crazy
really
uncle. Every family has one.
Yeah, every family has one. We have a fantastic show for you today. We have a great weather forecast for the big 3-day weekend. The big major story today. They consummated the deal last night at the Wenatchee City Council meeting. The Wenatchee City Council voted unanimously to ink the deal between local telecommunications and the City of Wenatchee. The City of Wenatchee is going to purchase about half the federal building and eventually, over the next 3 years, move there. That'll be our top story. Yep. New City Hall. Yesterday, I had a chance to sit down and talk with Dimitri Mandalis, the president of local telecommunications, and the mayor of the City of Wenatchee, Frank Koontz, to talk about the deal, the genesis of it, and how it all came to be. It's a fascinating interview. That'll be the second part of the program. Steve has your news. You know what the top story is.
Ran into your other brother yesterday, too.
Oh, yeah.
The pork breakfast. Jim Koontz,
There's a lot of Koontzes.
Power family, folks.
Most of them accomplished something in their lives. We got a lot of sports to get to. This is the final week of the prep sports season. There's a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams vying for state championships this weekend, not to mention tennis and track and field. We'll talk about that. With sports, we have the obscure holiday today in history, birthdays. Everyone is entitled to my but not his opinion. Again, my conversation with Dimitri and Frank in the second half of the show. You got a bunch of news. We got a lot to get to. You ready?
Let's do it.
Buckle your seatbelts. Kids, here we go. Cameras around the valley, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless network. And once again, batting lead off. Number one. The Wenatchee Valley, Wenatchee Valley. Good morning, Wenatchee. Good morning, East Wenatchee. Good morning, Sunny Slope. Good morning, Birch Mountain.
I'll echo that.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you very much. Beautiful day today. It's going to be a little, kind of a blip in the forecast, Steve. We're going to have some clouds as the day progresses. The high pressure ridge that's going to start developing is actually centered right over us, and it's not very big. So we're going to have some clouds coming up from the south.
Well, it adds some dimension, you know.
It does.
Depth to our landscapes here.
Yeah, I had no idea you knew what that meant. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Get ready for a beautiful 3-day weekend. Camera number 2.
Water's still pretty high out there at Confluence.
It's high and it's cold. We say good morning to Lake Chelan. That is from Bear Mountain, looking up the lake. I understand they're expecting at least 55 to maybe 60 people at Lake Chelan this weekend, Steve.
That's on one corner.
Yeah, well, I like to do conservative. I like to be conservative on those things. Good morning, Lake Chelan.
Gearing up for the big Memorial Day weekend. Boy, do they have a big bash planned.
They do. Speaking of big bashes, what time is your party at your place tonight?
Oh, you didn't get the word?
No, I didn't get the word. What?
Oh, well,
it's been
maybe
canceled?
we better talk.
Okay, we'll talk afterwards. Yeah. I thought it was like you're just barbecuing and everybody just shows up.
Well, we still are, but I've got to meet with you privately.
Okay. Camera number 3. Where are we going, Kat? Kat says, hello, Nanapoc Ridge. Good morning to the Lake Wenatchee area. Gorgeous, beautiful area.
That's Chief Nanapoc, right?
Yeah, Chief Nanapoc. That's just a gorgeous area up there. Well, my guess is Lake Wenatchee will be pretty busy as well.
I would imagine so. Anywhere there's water, you'll see a lot of activity.
I'm interested to see what the mosquito population is up there. Lake Wenatchee, they do quite a bit of spraying. Fish Lake has a tendency to be a real mosquito haven up there.
Mosquitoes, maybe not, but there are other bloodsuckers out there, and ticks, I guess, are a real problem this year in the forest. Yeah, a real problem. So, especially watch your pets if you take them into the forest hiking.
That's a new show, by the way. It's going to be debuting next week, The Wonderful World of Ticks. We're looking forward to that. And finally, camera 4. We're going up to Arrondo Rock. Good morning, the placid Columbia River, just behind the Rocky Reach Dam spill gates, and that's why it looks like a lake and not a river.
It's a reservoir.
It is. Good morning, everybody. Hope you have a great chance to go out and enjoy this Memorial Day weekend. Of course, don't forget what Monday is all about.
See a little boat heading down the river.
I do.
A boat or a duck?
I think it's a little boat up
That's
there
a boat.
upriver.
That's a boat. With the lights in the studio, sometimes it's kind of
Or
hard to
Loch
tell.
Ness, one of the two.
That's, oh my, it's Nessie. It's Nessie. Well, that was a bird. I saw that. Good morning to our friends in Arundel Rock. We are the #7 rated morning live television show in the greater Arundel Rock area. 6 minutes after the hour from the National Weather Service, here is your forecast. As I mentioned before, we are going to have some increasing clouds today. As the day progresses, the clouds will be coming up from the south, Steve, from the south, from eastern Oregon to eastern Washington, and there's nothing really there to stop the clouds from coming, so here they come. Increasing clouds today, high of 83. We can live with it. Cloudy tonight in the early evening hours, and then as the evening progresses, Steve, it will gradually clear out because the wind is going to be picking up a little bit tonight. Northwest wind 15 to 17 miles an hour. That will scour out the skies. Overnight low tonight of about 55 degrees.
Look at
Saturday,
those temperatures for the weekend.
yeah,
Wow.
perfect. A little cool on Saturday. That's actually about normal. Sunshine, high of 77. We are going to have some wind on Saturday. It'll be fairly breezy, 13 to 15 miles an hour on Saturday, but as the day progresses, the winds will calm down. Sunday, sunshine 86, Memorial Day proper, sunshine 88, a little cool down Tuesday, and Wednesday, I have absolutely zero complaints with that.
Pretty
None.
day for the Hobie Cat out on Lake Chelan. Huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful weather forecast. Again, increasing clouds today, a little windy tonight, a little windy Saturday, nothing we can't live with. In fact, I can't think of a better forecast than that. Not too hot, not too cool, a little breeze at times.
It's ordered up by the Chamber of Commerce.
It
What
is a
else can you
Chamber
expect?
of Commerce weather. It's just going to be gorgeous. We got a lot to get to, so we're going to dispense with the shenanigans back and forth between Steve and I. We have a busy newscast to get to, lots of sports as well. Don't go anywhere. We're going to fill your brain with information, important stuff. It's 1 minute away. Steve Harry will do the honors when we come back. Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Friday edition from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Golfers, register now for Cascade Medical Foundation's 16th annual golf tournament on Monday, June 18th at the Leavenworth Golf Club. Your registration of $150 per person includes 18 holes of golf and cart, all activities and contests, and lunch and dinner. A raffle and live auction will be held. All proceeds will support the lab at Cascade Medical Center. There are limited spaces available. Get your tickets now by registering online or give us a call today.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Good morning and welcome to this 25th day of May. Happy Friday, and here's some of the stories we're following for you today. First of all, City of Wenatchee will be moving into a new city hall as a result of action last night. It's now official. Wenatchee City Council voted unanimously last night in favor of purchasing part of the old federal building, now owned by Local Telecommunications, to house its city government operations. Local Tel purchased the building at auction last April and had offered a portion of the building to the city for its space needs. Along with the principal partners of Local Telecommunications, President Dimitri Vandelis commented on the long negotiation process before last night's council vote.
9 months of negotiation, and it's actually been a very interesting experience for me. I've never done this before, and Steve was they were just great to work with. I couldn't have, they just couldn't have been better to work with them. I mean, they stood their grounds and got what they wanted, and we got what we wanted, and I think we have a good agreement, and I think we're both pretty pleased with how far that we came in these 9 months. Had I known that 9 months ago, that it's that hard to do it, but we went through about every square foot of that building and figured out who should have it, what's the best, is it joint, is it ours, is it yours, who's going to heat it, who's going to cool it, who's going to clean it. It was an interesting process, so I'm happy to be almost done.
So again, it's a done deal. In the agreement, Localtel will basically occupy the back portion of the building, while the city of Wenatchee will take up the front side. Localtel was the high bidder at last year's auction, paying $3.9 million for the building. The estimated cost of the city of Wenatchee to purchase space in the Fed building is roughly $2.5 million. In fact, we have an exclusive interview with Wenatchee Mayor Frank Kuntz and Localtel CEO and President Dimitri Mandelis. That's coming up later in our hour on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Still unknown when and if Pangbourne Airport will offer regular commercial air service to San Francisco. Chelan County Port District's Executive Director Pat Jones provided an update on that project at yesterday's port-hosted breakfast meeting in Wenatchee.
We are still waiting on our federal administration to make decisions about our grant application. It is far, far slower processing than it has been in the past. We expected this to take place at the end of last year. We're hopeful that we're going to get a decision soon. We have talked to carriers. Those carriers are interested in our route. We need that federal match, 2-to-1 match to our contribution to really get the carriers to take a try on our route.
A lot of things happening up at Pangbourne. In fact, Jones shared the latest news on the port's recent purchase of the Executive Flight Building and its plans for redevelopment there.
So the Port Commission, and I think a particularly smart move, recently approved the purchase of 2 executive flight buildings. One, their very nice hangar building, 64,000 square feet of office and hangar. And then the second building is a 24,000 square foot hangar that FedEx is in. We think there's going to be net revenue from the purchase of those buildings that we can send to Pangbourne for their operating and capital deficits. And again, one of our biggest regional challenges in the public sector for this public good is to find the money to regularly invest in Pangbourne capital facilities so we make that the airport that we can be proud of.
Now, during the same meeting yesterday, Jones also updated the audience on the port's ongoing Cashmere Mills site project, which is now entering the development stage with plans for constructing 2 17,000 square foot buildings to be marketed for industrial and manufacturing businesses. Traffic backed up on South Wenatchee Avenue yesterday afternoon. 2-car injury accident here. The vehicles collided in front of Stan's Mary Mart on the south side of town. The accident caused that geo-tracker to roll over. We have no word yet on the cause of the crash or the condition of those injured in that accident. Windermere Real Estate's corporate economic analyst Matthew Gardner has a bullish outlook for Chelan County, but the keynote speaker at yesterday's Chelan County Port District's breakfast meeting also shared a measure of concern about the future.
We are going to continue to grow for the next couple of years, but this is the one thing I will say to you this morning that is not the most positive, and that is we are going to have a recession at some point. The question is, when's it going to be? Now, according to my crystal ball, I'm looking at the end of 2019, early 2020. We will see a business cycle recession.
Gardner remains optimistic that a possible recession, though, will not be as bad as that occurred in 2008. Gardner reports wages are increasing across the state, but he said the recently approved tax cuts will not help moving forward.
But what we have not seen, remarkably, is the effects of the tax cuts. Everyone thought great tax cuts for company, corporate rates dropping, there's going to be trickle-down economics, it's going to flow through to the employees. I say one thing, poppycock. I say poppycock, so I'm English and I can. It's not. It really is. Larger companies, they're doing nothing more than buying back stock. Simple as that. Increasing dividends. We're not seeing that flow through to the employees, and nor will we. Now, certainly some companies will say they'll give one-off bonuses. Well, that's a very sneaky way to get around it. It's not permanent. It's a one-time pop. So, unfortunately, when you look at tax cuts, they were great for corporations, but pretty lousy for everybody else.
And again, Gardner reports Chelan County's population expected to swell to about 100,000 residents by 2030. He says future job growth and economic development in Chelan County will be dictated by housing costs and skilled labor, both in the technology and trade sectors. A Monroe man has joined Chelan County PUD as a new superintendent in the Parks Department. Kyle Endelman, a parks professional with more than 20 years experience, comes to the PUD from Sammamish, where he was Parks Deputy Director. Endelman joins the leadership team with fellow Parks Superintendent Ray Height and Parks Manager Ryan Baker. They work with about 40 seasonal and full-time staff to manage the activities and maintain the facilities, offering trails, sports fields, swimming, boat launches, picnicking, and camping. Endelman will oversee the PUD parks in Chelan and on the Columbia River above Rocky Reach Dam. In a press release earlier yesterday, Douglas County announced that Waste Management has agreed to sponsor the North Central Washington Fair with a donation of $5,000 a year for the next 4 years. The release said, quoting here, "Waste Management is a true partner in our community, helping to bolster events like this that provide enrichment opportunities for our entire community." In fact, they went on to say that they thank Waste Management enough for the support. They can't thank them enough for the support, and that they're looking forward to working together to make the NCW Fair even better. And here you can see them standing with one of the commissioners there, Dan Sutton. Memorial Day weekend, one of the country's favorite times of year to go camping. That being said, this weekend is also one of the hardest times to find that prime campsite. Robin DeMario, the public affairs specialist with the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest, says hopefully you planned your trip early, and with high water conditions this year, you want to stay alert when camping near any water.
This Memorial Day weekend is like the big kickoff for the summer vacation season. And typically, it's not uncommon for almost all National Forest campgrounds to be filled up this weekend. And they fill up early, sometimes as early as Thursday afternoon. So folks do have to have alternative plans in place. Let's say if their first choice spot is filled up, then maybe they need to think, well, where would I go second or third or fourth? So to have that in mind as they're planning their weekend activity. Anytime you go camping and you wish to recreate near water, you need to be careful, but especially right now with the high water levels that we're experiencing in most of the rivers and streams. So what that means is don't put your tent right near the water's edge. Pull back from the water's edge and camp somewhere farther away from it. Watch kids and pets so extremely carefully. You don't want them to even get near the edge of a riverbank because the water's really fast and really cold and deep. So definitely take care with that.
And again, another reminder that there's still some pretty damp areas of the forest, and that means maybe some slippery and muddy roads out there. So take care while traveling on those forest roads as well over the weekend. I was kind of laughing this morning. I was online looking at the different newspapers and magazines that I do every day, but came across Cairo in Seattle. You know, Dory Monson.
Sure, yeah. Came
out with a little, apparently a little editorial yesterday, or commentary, if you will. He said, Seattle really doesn't have to come here to go camping because they have a tent city over there.
Just camping downtown Seattle, right?
With his tongue firmly implanted in his cheek. Yeah. You
got big plans for the weekend outside of the big party tonight that apparently I'm not invited to?
Well, a lot of sports on TV I'll be watching, I'm sure.
Hey, it's funny you brought that up. We watched this all the time when I was a kid on Memorial Day weekend. I haven't watched it in 10 years. The Indianapolis 500.
I know. The Indy 500, the greatest spectacle in sports.
Supposedly.
Yeah,
I don't watch it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah, busy
Might make a little trip up to Chelan, I don't know.
Yeah.
Beat the traffic, go early.
Yeah, I'm just going to golf. That's all I'm going to do.
You're going to go golf?
Golf and listen to music.
Well, I've got a lot of planting yet to do, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, whatever you do this weekend, take us along. We are portable. We're streaming all the time. You can watch us on your tablet, on your smartphone, on your computer, whatever the case may be. Quick programming reminder, we will not be here on Monday. All of our regular programming will be preempted. We have some special Memorial Day programming we'll be airing in lieu of, or as we used to say, in lieu of, Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. So some of our regular programs will be here. Most of them will not. We'll have special programming throughout Memorial Day Monday. And don't forget what Memorial Day is all about. It's not about swimming and boating and barbecuing. It's bigger than that, much bigger than that.
That's right.
So there you go. The news with Grant Olson, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Those are your three chances to get all caught up in a nice little tidy little half-hour package. Grant in the anchor chair, he also handles the weather forecast. Eric Granstrom with sports. We invite you to watch our newscast. We're pretty proud of it. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. You can also watch it on demand by going to our website. And while you're at our website, click on the Contact Us button, fill out the form, and praise this very station.
That's right. There you go. And talk to us, please.
Please, go ahead, Steve.
Please, we'd like to engage you in our news production process here. If you see a item out there that you think that we should be covering, or if it's an event or some kind of program, give us a call on our regular business line. That's 888-2020. Or you can call us on the hotline, 888-NCWL. Contact us, well, by email at news@ncwlive.com. You can always talk to us on Facebook or Twitter. And then, of course, we have our website, ncwlive.com. Just click the little tab at the top of the page that says Contact Us or News Tabs and share with us what's on your mind.
Still to come between now and 8 o'clock this morning, live here from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee. We have sports. We'll preview the big weekend in the world of prep playoffs. It all wraps up this weekend. The obscure holiday birthdays. Today in history, everyone is entitled to Mike Benatti's opinion on my conversation with Wenatchee Mayor Frank Kuntz and Dimitri Mandalis of Local Telecommunications, all between now and 8. One more thing before
Probably should not fail to mention what happens Monday, of course, with the different ceremonies at the Wenatchee Cemetery and the Veterans portion of the cemetery, and East Wenatchee on 10th Street at the Evergreen.
And I believe PIBUS is doing something on Monday as well.
And then veterans groups will be meeting at the pedestrian bridge and be throwing the wreath into the water. So, yeah, to honor those who've died at sea or in battle.
Thank you for pointing that out, Steve. So you notice I don't have my funny nose glasses, mustache things today on this set. 22 minutes after the hour, sports is next.
Hi everyone, Brent. Hey, don't mind, we're just making a commercial here, Randall. You're okay. Hi everyone, Brent here. You're gonna love this. When you see this, come down and see us behind Nissan. I can do it. I can do it. The all-new 2018 Nissan. That's done, I'm done. We can't do it. Come down and see us at Town Nissan behind Costco in East Wenatchee. Better performance, better...
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shaman here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Let us make your dream of home ownership a reality. We're here to guide you through the loan process every step of the way. Check out our convenient online application. Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, your home for loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
And welcome back. 61 degrees outside of our studios, increasing clouds today, a little bit of wind tomorrow, and then a very pleasant weekend coming your way. Sports, there's a lot of sports to get to. It's all high school related. This is it. It is championship weekend. Let's start out with the state 4A soccer championships. Sparks Stadium in Puyallup is going to be the site. The Eastmont Wildcats semifinals today. They'll take on the Pasco Bulldogs. 6 o'clock tonight. Skyline will take on Sumner in the other semifinal. The championship game, if they make it, will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Go Wildcats. The Wenatchee Panthers, after a thrilling walk-off Grand Slam home run last week in Spokane to knock off Moses Lake, they are in the Final Four. They are in Pasco today. They will take on Skyview. The Panthers will at 1 o'clock this afternoon. The other semifinal has Federal Way in Richland. That will take place this morning. The state championship game tomorrow afternoon at 4. Cashmere back in the state 1A Final Four. They've been there before. The Bulldogs will take on Kingsway Christian. Semifinals today at 4 o'clock. By the way, this is taking place at County Stadium in Yakima. Cedar Park Christian will take on Freeman at 7. The winner of those two games will take on each other for the state 1A championship game tomorrow night at 7. Brewster is at Wheeler Field in Centralia. The Bears will take Adna today's semifinal. That's at 7 o'clock tonight. The other in that division is Tri-Cities Prep in Kalama. They'll do battle at 4. The state championship game will be at 1 o'clock tomorrow. The state 4A championships at Spokane's Dwight Merkel Field. It's a 16-team tournament, double elimination. 2 local teams are there. Moses Lake, the Big 9 champions, will take on Camas, and the number 2 seed out of the Big 9, the Eastmont Wildcats, begin their quest at noon today against Central Valley. Again, go Wildcats. The Cascade Lady Kodiaks are in the Tri-Cities for the 1A Girls Softball Championship. It takes place at Richland's Columbia Playfields. The Caribou Trail League champs will take on Elma at 10 o'clock this morning. Liberty Bell and Brewster will represent North Central Washington teams in the state 2B tournament at Yakima's Gateway Complex. The Lady Lions will take on Northwest Christian out of Colbert this morning at 9 o'clock. The Bears will take on Onalaska at 11 a.m. Can't forget about tennis. Local tennis players at the WIA State Tennis Championships down in beautiful Richland, Washington, also taking place in Yakima. The 4A tournament is at the Columbia Basin Racquet Club. The 1A tournament is at the Yakima Tennis Club. The 2-day event wraps up tomorrow. State Track and Field Championships. It is day number 2. It will conclude tomorrow. The 2A, 3A, and 4A meet is at Mount Tahoma Stadium. The 1B, 2B, and 1A is at Eastern Washington University. You can get constant updates on everything I just talked about by going to WIAA.com and follow all the action. Just one item of interest in sports this weekend, the annual Sterling Invite Girls Softball Tournament. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at softball fields all over North Central Washington, including Walla Walla Point Park, Kirby, Billingsley Hydro Park, and the Sterling Sports Complex. And finally, the Seattle Mariners. Their 5-game winning streak came to an end yesterday as they lost. The final was 4-3 to Oakland. Felix Hernandez got roughed up in the first inning, gave up, well, all 4 runs in the first inning. Then after that, King Felix and 3 relievers retired 21 of the next 22 Athletics, but those 4 runs in the first was just enough for Oakland. Gene Segura, 3 for 4 with a run. Kyle Seager delivered an RBI double in the 8th. The Mariners return home. They have a 10-game homestand. Beginning tonight, they will take on Minnesota. First pitch, 7:10. Go local teams. Go all of them. This is why I have all of these things up there representing all the local sports that are taking place this weekend for the state high school kids. All right, it is 27 minutes after the hour. The obscure holiday today. Sing! Sing a song. Sing out loud. Sing out strong. Today is Sing Out Day. Sing out as loud as you can, wherever you can, whenever you can, whether you sing in the shower or you like to do a karaoke or you just plain like to sing at parties. Today is the day to do it. Singing, especially in groups, is good for you. It alleviates bad moods, it reduces stress, lowers your blood pressure, increases your immune system. It's good for you. Sing out, even if you can't sing. Sing out. It's fun. We sing every day around here. We do a lot of things every day around here. 27 minutes after the hour. Today in history, 5 items. Today is the 83rd anniversary of one of the greatest athletic achievements ever. In a span of 45 minutes, in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Jesse Owens of Ohio State University breaks 3 world records and tied a 4th world record, all at the Big Ten Track and Field Championships in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He did it all in 45 minutes. One of the great athletic achievements took place on this date back in 1935. Happy 50th birthday to the Gateway Arch. You can see the plaque there. I decided not to show the arch. We all know what it looks like. 50 years ago today, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis was formally dedicated. One fun fact about the Gateway Arch: the height and the width of the arch is exactly the same. It is 630 feet tall and 630 feet wide. They're having huge celebrations in St. Louis today to mark the 50th anniversary of the Gateway Arch. 41 years ago today, a movie you may have heard of, Star Wars, was released in theaters. The summer of '77 was a great one for me. I think I saw Star Wars 10 times that summer. Star Wars, the original movie, so far has grossed $775 million. It cost $11 million to make it. It has taken in $775 million so far. The Star Wars franchise has grossed $8.5 billion. It's done all right. 40 years ago today, the greatest drummer in the history of rock and roll, Keith Moon, performed with The Who for the very last time. It was a private concert filmed for the motion picture The Kids Are All Right. Keith Moon and The Who would never play again. Keith Moon would die September of that year. 40 years ago today, Keith Moon drummed with his band for the last time. And we can't forget about this. This is the deadliest aviation accident ever to occur in this country. It was the Friday of Memorial Day, 1979, at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. American Airlines Flight 191, McDonnell Douglas DC-10, crashed just after takeoff. All 271 people on board and 2 people on the ground were killed. The worst aviation accident in United States history. Happened on this date in 1979. 30 minutes after the hour, 3 birthdays. Bill Bojangles Robinson. He was the best known and most highly paid African-American entertainer in the first half of the 20th century. He is almost forgotten now. In fact, we mentioned Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens gave Bill Bojangles Robinson one of his 4 Olympic gold medals because Robinson had promoted and was a big fan of Jesse Owens, and he paid him back by giving Bill Robinson one of his medals. When Bill Bojangles Robinson died in 1949 at the age of 71, he was penniless and forgotten. His funeral was paid for by Ed Sullivan. Bill Bojangles Robinson, born May 25, 1878. Frank Oz. Born in England, raised in America, puppeteer, filmmaker, actor, of course. He performs as Miss Piggy, Fozzie the Bear, Animal on The Muppet Show, Cookie Monster. He's Bert. He's Grover, my favorite Sesame Street character. Of course, Yoda in Star Wars, also a director. Directed Little Shop of Horrors, all kinds of different movies. Frank Oz is 74 years old today. And Mike Myers, the Canadian, 55 years old today. Saturday Night Live, Wayne's World, Austin Powers, Shrek, of course. Also a pretty well-known director. Mike Myers is 55 years old today. Happy birthday to Michael. 31 minutes after the hour. Speaking of Michael, everyone is entitled to Mike Mad Dog Magnotti's opinion. That's next. And then My Visit, filmed yesterday morning with Demetria Mandalis and Frank Kuntz. It's the big story around North Central Washington today. That conversation all coming up between now and 8 o'clock. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Friday edition, live from Studio 9 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
It's a free walk-in job search assistance center. It is designed to help job seekers with the tools that they need to find a job. We have partnered with libraries in 5 other cities, providing the same types of services that we offer here, just there.
Just walk in, we have laptops, and we can help you with resume, cover letter.
All of our services are paid for by the revenues earned in our store. Goodwill is just a tool that the community is using to help their neighbors find a job. Goodwill, there's more behind the store.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
I definitely recommend them for new floors.
They made it so easy.
It looks like a whole new house.
Great service, great prices.
Want a recommendation before you buy new carpets or floors? Don't take our word for it, just listen to our customers.
And they guarantee their work for life.
Flooring America, where friends send friends. Select pet-friendly, kid-friendly, oops-friendly carpet and floors are on sale now.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your stoke?
Happy spring, Wenatchee Valley from Collins Fashions. We are so ready for your Wenatchee lifestyle special events and vacation time. Colorful tees and tunics, embroidered and colorful ankle jeans, capris and shorts from Not Your Daughters, Jag, Liverpool, French dressing, etc. Beautiful mom of the bride or groom dresses, sundresses too. New shoes and sandals from Soft, Bueno, Nicole, Naked Feet. Spring Brighton handbags and jewelry are amazing. Please stop into Collins and let us style and pamper you, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Yamaha ATVs and side-by-side vehicles are proven off-road. Designed, engineered, and tested in the real world, they provide the best balance of off-road capability, comfort, and confidence, delivering performance that is truly proven off-road.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, has become kind of a fad mental health diagnosis. People claim to have it or believe that experience, such as having to go through a metal detector at a school, can bring it on. Well, sorry, but no. The criteria for PTSD diagnosis, and I quote from the DSM-5, is exposure to actual or threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence. Now, believe me, folks, PTSD is a serious diagnosis, and the symptoms are miserable. They're horrible. No one who understands the terrible significance of having and suffering from PTSD would claim to have it if, in fact, they really didn't. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
I have a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
It's just so much more hands-on and friendly than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted.
We've just been grateful for the care and respect that we've been given there.
And here, when I come to visit my doctor, I'm not afraid to ask questions.
It's not just about getting you in and out.
I love my care at CVCH. It's awesome. Give it a try.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
Walk and Roll Wenatchee's Asian Express is fast, fresh food. Wenatchee Roll's new Poke Hawaiian Fresh Salad Bar is the best. Fresh greens, fresh seafood, and hand-made sauces. You know what you want. At Walk and Roll, create your own style meal. Hot off the line chicken, beef, and veggie plates. Lunch or dinner to match your appetite. Fresh sushi, hot entrees, Poke Fresh Salad Bar. It's new. It's Walk and Roll Wenatchee, fast, fresh food your way. Located on 5th and Mission.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Coots, your host. Just about a year and a half ago, the General Services Administration lost their biggest tenant in the federal building, the post office. Moved out, and the GSA said, we got a great big building and nobody's really hanging around here. So they decided to surplus the iconic federal building. The bidding process began in March. The city of Wenatchee was one of the bidders, as was Local Telecommunications. But when the dust settled, Local Telecommunications emerged as the winner, and they purchased the federal building for just under $4 million, just a little over a year ago. And Local Telecommunications is a thriving business with 125 so employees, but 80,000 square feet is a lot of square feet. The next thing, what are we going to do with that square feet? City Hall needed, the city of Wenatchee needed more office space. The two got together, and that is where we will pick up the story from here. My guests on this morning's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, to my immediate left is, I'm sorry, the name again?
Yeah, Frank
Kuntz, K-U-N-T-Z?
Yes, sir.
T-Z. Frank Kuntz, the mayor of the city of Wenatchee, and the president of Local Telecommunications, Dimitri Mendalis. Before we talk about last night, let's talk about the process. Obviously, Dimitri, you bought a great big building that you didn't need that much room.
Right.
Who called whom? How did this whole process begin once the deal closed last April and Local Tel became the owner of the building?
Well, we knew that the city was bidding on it too, and so we got together and found out what parts of the building they wanted, which was quite different than the parts we wanted. We wanted the loading dock, the basement, and the roof, pretty much, and they really wanted the first and second floor. And so we got together, found that that was going to work for us, and we kind of made an agreement that they could, split the building with us for about what we paid for it. And then from there, it kind of went down the road a while until the city decided they wanted. Frank called me and said he wanted
the top floor.
The top floor, and they could use
As
that
well.
too. And we didn't need the top floor, and so so that was the plan, and that's what we worked on for about 9 months of how to split up the building into those two pieces.
That's a long process. That's a long 9 months.
It's a long process. The stack of documents that are needed to create. I mean, the things that a mayor doesn't think about. You think about doing surveys of property, and you put in the property corners. We surveyed the entire inside of the building, right? Because you have to know how much space is the elevator shaft, because that's shared. How much is going to be the mezzanine? Where's the line between Localtel and the city on the main floor? And how do you divide up all the costs? And so you think of all of the complication that goes into making a condominium agreement out of a building that hasn't been condoed before, right, is a lot of work. And what we're trying to do is create flexibility, not only for Dimitri, but for the city. So at some point, if we decide to sell the top floor, well, it's a condo. We could sell it and get out of it. And so we're just trying to do all of the work ahead of time, knowing that maybe we'll keep it all. I'm guessing we probably would, but if times got tough and we needed to sell something, we could. Same with Localtel. So just it takes a lot of time to put those sorts of deals together when you're really trying to make sure that both sides have flexibility.
What about, go ahead, Dimitri, I'm sorry.
Well, we broke the building up into 5 pieces, and the city owns 3 of them, and we own 2 of them, and they're all condoed. And like he said, we probably will be the owners, but it has some flexibility to be able to sell the building if we don't need it or we want to surplus it for some reason. We do have agreements, cross agreements, where the city would have first right to if we wanted to sell, and kind of vice versa.
You didn't have to do a big sales job to your business partners. Your business partners are the 34,000 people who call Wenatchee home. Selling this deal to the city council, was it an uphill slog, or did they understand that this needs to be done?
I think the city council has always been a very strong proponent of this, maybe in some respects more so than myself, to be honest with you. You know, when you look at the federal building, it sort of looks like a government building. We're clearly out of space. And I think the city understands this is office space for the city for the next 50 to 100 years. And there's times as council members, that's what you're thinking about. You're not thinking about what pothole gets fixed tomorrow. It's what are we doing to leave the city in a better spot. We're busting at the seams at the current office. I don't have an office at the current city hall.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, my brother's office is actually in the conference room. He has just a small little desk set up in the corner, and that's it.
Which is fine for me, but they think I should have more. And over at Public Works, the top floor is full and busting at the seams. And so we really need some room for growth. The issue is how much, what's the right business model, and we're looking at remodeling a major portion of the old post office portion, the mail sorting center and all that. Yet when you look at all-in costs for with the square footage of building that we're getting, plus the remodel for City Hall, we're going to be into it, $12 to $13 million. I think the last City Hall built in the Tri-Cities was $22 million, and Spokane Valley's at $19 million, and so we're really getting an awful good bang for our buck in terms of square footage, the ability to expand, and then I think. Some of the architectural plans we've seen, when you drive down Chelan and you look to the right, there's just a whole bunch of marble. And a lot of that's going to become glass now, so you'll be able to see the city offices working. It'll be where our new city hall will be able to handle the new technology that's going on. So I really think from a long-term perspective, it's the right thing for us to do. The council's been very supportive getting us to this point. The only discussion we really had was, do you buy the 3rd floor or not? And we paid slight premium for the 3rd floor, which I think is fine from a business perspective. So then how do you use your old city hall? We do have Social Security Administration looking at that. We haven't got a deal signed. So I really think overall this little area is going to be the government center for a long, long time, and we're just going to be part of that. With Localtel on the backside and in the basement.
So by buying the top 2 floors, you're inheriting some tenants, which means the city is going to be collecting some rent now,
yes,
right?
We've got some very nice cash flow off the top two floors. Depending on how the Social Security thing sort of works, we may actually have to move City Hall temporarily into one of the floors. Depends on how things sort of work, so we're sort of working through some of the details on that. But big picture is it's great square footage for us. It's in the right location. It's on that edge of town where you're starting to get into South Wenatchee, and we are really, the city in particular wants to make sure that part of our town is successful. We're going to do a $3 or $4 million fix-up to the park just down the street, Madhow Park, and so just starting to make kind of the south end as we start working that way, just a real asset to our city, and I think just having a say in the federal buildings is important for us.
You mentioned the City Hall is bursting at the seams, no more room. That's the same deal with the Grant Road offices, the main office of Localtel. You guys you're full?
Yeah, we've been out of space for a while, and so we have people on top of people almost there. So this gives us a lot more square footage to move into. We had been looking at maybe building on this side of the street versus the other side, and this kind of this opportunity opened up, and so we just took advantage of it. I think the city is also going to redo the streets around the Fed building also.
That was my next question, was parking. I mean, the back parking lot is sizable. Is that being split between the two of you, or is that going to be local hotels parking?
It's split between the two of us based on square footage, but in addition, the Kittitas will have new parking kind of be redone. Medhow and I think Yakima.
We're going to do a bunch of what we call angled parking, so you get more parking in there. The street will actually narrow a little bit, which is fine. You don't need great, big, huge, wide streets when it's just around an office building. So we'll narrow up the streets a little bit. We'll have a bunch of side angle parking. Then we're going to have to, each of us, you know, when you think about that office building full, are we at 150 to 200 employees or more?
Something like that.
So obviously parking is going to be an issue. We've got some ideas on how to do some off-site parking. The city obviously owns the old fire station, which that group is getting ready to start construction of the new station in the next maybe 6 months or so.
Where Prospector Pies used to be.
Yep. And so there's parking in the backside of that. It can be, so we've got lots of kind of flexibility in terms of, but I look in 7 or 8 years and I see that federal building full of people working. It's going to need to have some place to go to lunch after work. I mean, it's that whole area is just going to start exploding with basically what Local is doing and what the city's doing.
Do you see something, Dimitri, along the lines of maybe a cafeteria shared by everybody, or maybe like a daycare center or a break room or a workout room? Is that in the master plan, stuff like that?
I don't know if it's a master plan, but we have been looking at probably some kind of a little restaurant or lunch bar or something down by the fountain and stuff down there, you know, because there'll be a lot of people within this area. 200 to 300 people will probably want to go down there. So we're looking at that. We have space for it down there. We're just kind of waiting to see what the city does. I mean, the city doesn't plan on moving in until
3 years after the remodel. So 3 years or so before we move into the main floor.
Well, let's talk timeline. So you're talking 3 years, Dimitri. When does the Grant Road office move over and over here? Any idea?
We're up for debate on that right now. We could start this summer with some of the walls internally and stuff, and maybe take a year or two to build it, or we might wait till the same time frame. It's very noisy and it's all concrete and metal, and so if you bang on the basement, you hear it on the roof, and so we might want to wait till everybody's in there at the same time, because it's going to be a royal mess in the remodel of it. And if the city has moved in, let's say that Social Security moves over and they move in, well, they're a big tenant then all of a sudden, and they're going to probably put up with more noise.
Yeah. Put up with their own noise.
With their own noise, and so I think it's a bit, we're hoping to be in by the time the city's ready to go.
The other thing I want to mention, Dan, just in terms of when you look at what the city's paying, and it's it's a little bit of a premium if you just took the square footage and divided it up. But I think there's 2 or 3 things that are really important. I think the value of the second and third floor is really worth more than the basement, right? So I think it's important to understand that that third floor is really pretty precious stuff, and so we're paying a bit of a premium for that. The other thing that we got to do that Dimitri didn't get to do is we got to go in after they took over the building and look at all of the air conditioning and heating units and electrical systems and the elevators and make sure that we're comfortable. And then we get the knowledge that they've operated it for the last 6 or 7 months. And so they know how it's working, how the leases are working, what the costs are. So the knowledge that we've gained by having those guys have it for the last 6 or 7 months has really helped us. And so now we're confident. And so when you pay $3.6 million for 65% of a building that they paid $4 million for, you might think, well, that's not a very good deal. But in hindsight, it's actually a really good deal because of the knowledge we've gained from the staff over there and just understanding. That's what scared us the most when we were bidding, is we don't have any idea what we're getting, right? And that's what probably scared Dimitri the most too, is he had no idea what he was getting. And now that we know, okay, now I'm willing to pay a fair value for all of that knowledge.
Well, I agree. When there are bigger numbers, especially for Local, if you look at that. But if you look at per square foot, and you try to build something like that you can't even get close. And so per square foot, it's still, even the third floor is a steal. I mean, it's like $100 a square foot. I mean, it's really a steal. But But it does add up and stuff. And I will admit that that was one of the scary parts for us, is if you go into the basement of the federal building, it looks like a submarine room in there. And when you're looking at it, you're going, oh my goodness, what do all these wires go to? Where do all these big pipes go to? You know, and the air conditioner is, one of the air conditioners is, you know, 8 feet tall. You can just stand in the thing. Yeah. You know, it's scary to look at all of it, but it's been really well kept. Yeah. The government kept it up really well, and we've analyzed the, you know, quite a bit, and we feel comfortable that we can maintain it now. And with a few changes before we move in, we think it'll be even more manageable.
Joe Q taxpayer chiming in. Mayor Kuntz, as Joe Q taxpayer, is this going to cost me any money?
Currently, the $3.6 million purchase price that we've got set is paid for out of city reserves. We didn't have reserves when I became mayor, but those are kind of a new thing now. So won't have any problem with that. The remodel, at some point, there may be some sort of small little increases in order to get us to put $9 million into that building. We're still analyzing what that might look like. So it depends on how the economy does over the next couple of years. Some of it could be paid for with reserves, some with some sort of a debt issue. But the council is committed to getting City Hall over there. One of the things I've told them, I said, you don't spend $3.6 million for a building not understanding the cost of remodeling and what that might look like and options to pay for it. And they're fully aware of what those options are.
The Public Works has a beautiful, fairly new facility out there on McKittrick Street. Is that right? Is everybody, with the exception of, say, law enforcement and Public Works, going to be moving into that building?
So that's one thing we haven't quite decided yet. Okay. It's kind of debating amongst the city. We certainly have room in the federal building to accommodate really all of the engineering, building, planning, sort of the top floor out there at Public Works. All of those could come this way. Some of it depends on how much the remodel is going to cost, because the checkbook isn't wide open, right? We've got parameters, and then we've just got to figure out, you know, if you bring engineering, but they're always working with the road crew, and the road crew's there. So there's some internal stuff we haven't quite figured out. Either way, this is a great option. If it's just City Hall and IT that moves over, if we move more folks. What I've told staff is, and I'm going to work our darndest, I think Pybus Market is incredible. I want our City Hall to be the Pybus Market of City Halls. I want it to be cool, retrofitted, old building that people walk in and go, I'm just proud to be part of a city that owns a building like this, and if I'm a city employee, that's where I want to go to work. And so that's the kind of space we're trying to build. In fact, we're going next week on Wednesday or Thursday, driving over to Kirkland, Redmond, a number of three or four cities to check out their newer city halls and what they're doing for workspace options. I think we're going to get into the Google offices maybe, I don't know. So again, trying to really look at that. I want to make the building super cool, and Dimitri does too. Yeah. I want to make it a great workspace, and I want the citizens to be proud when they walk in and say, you know, my city did something really cool for us.
Well, I know you're both busy and you want to get your Memorial Day weekend underway, so just a couple more things. There's one gentleman who ran point for the city of Wenatchee who really did the yeoman's work, and we're talking about Steve King, and you got to give him some big kudos, don't you?
Steve is a brilliant guy. He's done all the work from the city's perspective, working with Greek and his team. I think most of the meetings have been Dimitri plus 2 or 3, and then just Steve representing the city, using public works staff and others when he needs it. You know, lots of agreements, lots of concepts that you got to kind of work your way through, a lot of ebb and flow. That's why it took so long. But Steve did an incredible job, and I knew we'd get there. It's just a question of time.
Dimitri, you want to thank anybody on your team?
Well, I want to thank Steve, too. He's incredible to work with. Super bright, super hardworking, very open, stands his ground, and very pro-city. I mean, just amazingly, you know, trying to do the best. And so it was actually really great to work with him. And our staff, you know, John and Greg Mercer and me. Well, because I've never been through one of these before,
sure.
And I think Steve has done more of it than I have, and so it's just an extreme learning experience for me to go through the building, every square foot of the building, negotiate every square foot of the building, from power to elevator to cooling to heating. It just never, you would not have known it unless you'd been through it before. So it was a very good process. I think we're going to have a very good start to this structure of this. It's a private public structure, but I think we've gotten off to a really good start. And the structure of the building inside, you can really see that something grand and great can be built in this building, because it's just made out of marble and rock, and metal, right?
Yeah.
So you got lots of good things to deal with.
When the post office was there, people weren't allowed to go back where the post office actually did their work. You had no idea how big that room was until they took everything out. I mean, that's huge. That room is
huge, and tall ceilings, and with some skylights and some glass on Chelan. All of a sudden, it becomes a pretty cool building.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Sounds like a win-win-win, like across the board for everybody.
Well, I think when we first started, we didn't think it'd be $4 million to get the building. I mean, we thought it'd be quite a bit less. But I think in hindsight now, when I look at it, it's still quite a great. For what we have, I think we have a great value in it.
And the other option is some out-of-town buyer buys it, and you don't know what you get. And Dimitri's a great employer and a great community partner. The city obviously wants to do what's best for the city. So to have a local business and the local government be able to partner together, we don't see eye to eye in everything, never will, but just doing the right sort of things for the right reasons really makes it a lot easier.
Who's going to be the city's internet service provider?
It's the same over that. Right across the street.
Dimitri Mandalis and Frank Kuntz, thanks for joining me. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, and look forward to watching the progress over the next apparently 3 years.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
All right. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
The NCW Life Channel is your home for local news, local weather, and events including live local high school sports. Watch inspiring local shows featuring local people. Don't miss Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's learn. Guada TV. Street Talk and Other Stuff. The 12th District. Life with Lisa. And the Arbiter of Stoke. NCW Life Channel is your local TV station.
We're here to celebrate every season with award-winning dining, full-service spa, and 170 waterfront guest rooms. Come experience our tradition of hospitality at Campbell's Resort on Lake Chelan.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
And welcome back. We're live here from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee, getting ready for our 3-day weekend to get going. Don't forget about Monday, Memorial Day, and we have a quick rundown of what is going on as far as ceremonies are concerned. They're basically going to work from west to east at 9 o'clock at the Wenatchee City Cemetery on the far west end of Wenatchee. They'll have services there at 9 a.m. At 10 o'clock. I'm sorry?
You'll also notice that the Boy Scouts are out putting the flags up at the veterans cemeteries on both sides of the river.
Thank you for reminding me. So 9 a.m. at the Wenatchee City Cemetery. At 10 o'clock is when they'll drop the wreath at the center of the pedestrian pipeline bridge that connects Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. That's at 10 a.m. Then they move over to East Wenatchee, and at 11 a.m. at Evergreen Memorial Cemetery on 10th Street. They'll have ceremonies there. And then at noon at the Pybus Public Market, there will be a ceremony. There's also stuff going on in Waterville and Cashmere and Winthrop as well. So that's what's going on to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice so we can enjoy the freedoms that we have. That's what Monday is all about. Again, 9 a.m. at the Wenatchee City Cemetery, 10 a.m. Both Mayor Lacey and Mayor Kuntz will be there to drop the traditional wreath at the middle of the pipeline bridge. That's at 10. At 11 o'clock, Evergreen Memorial Cemetery in East Wenatchee, and then at noon at the Pybus Public Market.
And we'll have a little recap of it coming up on Tuesday.
Oh, good.
For your morning news.
As far as your weather forecast is concerned, thank you, Mother Nature. That is just gorgeous.
Look at that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, we're going to have some increasing clouds coming out of the south today. Don't sweat it. Mostly sunny, clouds thickening up, 83. Mostly cloudy, a tad breezy tonight, 55 for the overnight low. Saturday, sunny, 77. A little windy on Saturday, nothing we can't handle. Sunday, gorgeous. Memorial Day, gorgeous. Tuesday, beautiful. Wednesday, beautiful, all that good stuff. Before we cut you loose and have a 3-day weekend, good luck to Eastmont Soccer, Eastmont Softball, Wenatchee High School Baseball, Cashmere High School Baseball, Cascade Softball, Brewster Baseball, all the tennis players and all the track and field athletes. This is championship weekend for them. Best of luck to all the local teams. We'll have a complete wrap-up on how everybody did on Tuesday. Steve, you have a great Memorial Day.
You too, buddy.
The golf course beckons. Everybody have a great Memorial Day 3-day weekend. Don't forget about Monday. All right, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.